5 injured WWE stars who might be ready to make a comeback. Like other sportsmen, WWE stars are prone to injuries, which are a common occurrence in professional sports. At various points in their careers, Seth Rollins, John Cena, Cody Rhodes, and Charlotte Flair have suffered terrible injuries. Kevin Owens is presently sidelined due to a neck injury, and his prognosis is still uncertain. On SmackDown, Kiana James just made a full recovery from a knee ailment to support Julia as the Women's United States Champion. Throughout 2025, a few of Raw and SmackDown stars have missed a lot of time. The 5 WWE celebrities listed below might be prepared to play again shortly. As a face facing the fierce Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov was establishing himself on Raw. He was selected in the 2024 WWE Draft for Monday nights, but in late September 2024, he tore his ACL. Unless it's a multi-tendon tear or a difficult recovery, those injuries typically take 6 to 9 months to heal. The Mad Dragon has been available for purchase for a lot longer than that. Given that he hasn't surfaced yet, Dragunov must be waiting for a creative direction as WWE undergoes monthly transformations. Due to a torn groin, the WWE legend was unable to compete against El Grande Americano at WrestleMania. He has continued to make public appearances for Lucha Libre AAA, including last week's Worlds Collide event and Triple Mania. The former World Heavyweight Champion may be prepared to make a comeback to Raw at any time, as he has been sidelined for over 5 months due to an injury. After losing the women's tag team belts at WrestleMania 41, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez quickly reclaimed them. After sustaining a dislocated shoulder during a match against Kairi Sane on June 16, 3 months ago, her luck suddenly ran out. Recovery times vary from person to person. It might take a little longer than usual because Morgan has had shoulder problems in the past. However, the former Money in the Bank winner has the potential to cause a stir on Judgment Day at any time soon. Every week, the stress increases, so why not include another chaotic agent? During the first part of the year, Morgan was not the only previous women's champion to experience bad luck. Bianca Belair hurt her finger in her triple threat match at WrestleMania in late April, but it wasn't as bad as a broken neck or torn ligaments. Despite her injury, she continued to appear on programs anytime SmackDown or Raw visited Nashville, her hometown. Additionally, she made a comeback to serve as Evolution 2's guest referee. It indicates her injury isn't a major obstacle if she is able to referee a game. The EST might appear to support Jade Cargill or turn on her old friend, Tiffany Stratton, who needs fresh opponents. Gunther had a difficult performance at SummerSlam. In the physical title bout, he damaged his nose in addition to losing the World Heavyweight title to CM Punk with ease. Although athletes have wrestled while wearing protective face guards in the past, the severity of the injuries frequently dictates whether the athlete can continue competing or requires additional recovery time. Given his reputation for being cunning, the ring general may make a comeback in the upcoming weeks. Now that he's the undisputed WWE champion once more, Cody Rhodes needs fresh opponents. It would be better for business and for Gunther to move to SmackDown in order to disrupt the title scenario. But although many professional wrestlers aspire to be WWE superstars, there are drawbacks to this as well. WWE superstars are an inspiration to many. Stars that work for the global sports entertainment powerhouse portray larger-than-life personas on television and are admired by millions worldwide. Although the majority of fans are courteous, some eventually breach personal lines. 4 WWE stars who have dealt with stalker problems in real life will be examined in this listicle. Liv Morgan was recently involved in a regrettable occurrence. Sean Chon, 41, allegedly flew from Canada to Florida on May 31st of this year and went to Morgan's house in Pasco County. Morgan wasn't home when the man arrived, but he lingered for almost 2 hours and even tried to break in before departing. He was taken into custody outside the WWE Performance Center on June 3rd. Chon was charged with interstate domestic violence against the Miracle Kid and is presently incarcerated. Roxanne Perez experienced online harassment shortly after the Liv Morgan incident. Is Roxanne Perez D3 ad yet? Is the name of an X account. In a string of unsettling posts, the 23-year-old's home address was revealed. The account was removed from the platform, and appropriate measures were implemented. For Perez's planned appearances during the 2025 Money in the Bank weekend, the Stamford-based corporation stepped up security. Because of Alexa Bliss's enormous popularity, she has been the target of internet harassment on multiple occasions. The 34-year-old was the target of many accounts made by an ex-user in 2021. Despite Bliss's pleas for him to stop, the man persisted in creating new profiles and making unsettling allegations about her and her partner, Ryan Cabrera. He even claimed to have organized a trip to Orlando, where Bliss lived. To alert the authorities and a number of WWE officials about these tweets, fans tagged them. After ex-Sonya Deville was implicated in a horrific occurrence in August 2020, the accounts were eventually suspended. A man called Philip Thomas tried to break into Deville's Florida house and kidnap her after months of pursuing her online. Nevertheless, Deville and her visitor, Mandy Rose, were able to leave the house in time and dial 911 because of an alarm that went off. But in Perth, Australia, the night was electrifying. The historic event, WWE's Elimination Chamber 2024, which was held in Rhea Ripley's own country for the first time, had fans talking for months. The intensity within the crowded arena was unparalleled, and the stadium lights gleamed against the night sky of Australia. The seats were packed with families, seasoned WWE fans, and even brand-new WWE members holding placards that said, "Welcome home, Rhea," as well as "Mommy Forever." Rhea Ripley's hands were shaking as she laced up her boots backstage. This moment felt different to someone who has triumphed on the largest stages in professional wrestling, including the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and numerous title defenses. It wasn't your typical match. She was going back to the place where her dream began. Her parents, brothers, and old acquaintances who were called a youthful Demi Bennett, her true name, doing dropkicks in a dirty local gym were seated in the first row. She was more than just the Eradicator or the Nightmare tonight. She was a hometown hero, a sister, and a daughter coming full circle. The stadium erupted in a thunderous shout as her entrance song began. Fans stood up and chanted her name in unison as the beat of her theme song reverberated. Rhea held the Women's World Championship above her head as she entered the room. As she scanned the arena, her eyes glistened. This was more than simply a crowd. This was home. She saw her mother, who was already crying with pride, as she made her way to the ring. Rhea briefly deviated from her usual behavior by grinning sincerely and pointed directly at her family. Becky Lynch, a legend in her own right, was her opponent for the evening. After weeks of building suspense in the plot, both women realized that this was more than just a title match. It was history being made when the bell rang. It was a passionate and tough match. Becky experimented with mind games, high-impact moves, and submissions. However, each time Rhea was knocked down, the audience cheered her on with, "Let's go, Rhea." She appeared to gain power from their voices. Becky locked in the disarm her halfway through the battle, and it briefly appeared as though Rhea might tap. But she tightened her fists, fought her way to the ropes, and recalled the lengthy trek from her small local wrestling performances to WWE superstardom. Relief erupted in the arena. The moment Rhea lifted Becky onto her shoulders and thunderously delivered the riptide was the climax. The referee's hand pounded the mat as she covered herself. 1, 2, 3. The arena trembled with the shouts of the crowd as the bell rang. In front of her people, Rhea Ripley had kept her title. Tears were streaming down her cheeks as she fell to her knees, overcome. Cheers, chanting, and even fireworks filled the ring. With a cracked voice, Rhea reached for a microphone. "Australia, this is for you. I started as a kid with a dream in Adelaide, and now I stand before you as your women's world champion. Thank you for believing in me. Tonight, we made history together." In response, the stadium gave an apparently continuous standing ovation. Her relatives climbed over the wall and embraced her in the ring as she proudly displayed her title once more. The unadulterated emotion was recorded on camera, a champion appreciating her heritage while simultaneously defending her championship. Elimination Chamber 2024 was more than just a wrestling competition for Rhea Ripley. Her journey came full circle that night. She gave back to the nation that gave her everything on that night. The world discovered that even the Nightmare had a heart that beat most strongly when she was with her own people that night. But there was an unparalleled level of enthusiasm in Australia when the WWE revealed that the Elimination Chamber 2024 will take place there. Fans have been hoping for years to see their own Rhea Ripley return home as the current and dominant women's world champion, not just as a competitor. That ideal was now becoming a reality. Rhea received an unbelievable amount of support as soon as her plane landed at Sydney Airport. Hundreds of supporters hoisted posters, waved flags, and yelled, "Mommy,"
"Ma'am, ma'am,"
as loudly as they can. Some even donned personalized jerseys that said, "Welcome home, Rhea Ripley, Australia's own champion." This was a poignant occasion for Rhea, who had left Australia years prior to pursue her ambition of being a professional wrestler. As she secretly vowed to her people that she would not disappoint them, she raised her championship belt high above her head while crying. The Australian media was obsessed with her in the days before the incident. Her itinerary was packed with charitable activities, special appearances, and interviews. She reminded everyone that she was still the Adelaide girl who had been told that wrestling was an unattainable goal, yet she handled everything with poise. She was now the global face of women's wrestling. At last, the Elimination Chamber night came. Perth's arena was electrifying. When Rhea Ripley's music began, the crowd's clamor was the most noticeable feature, even if the chamber's steel construction gleamed under the lights. WWE had never encountered such a high level of intensity in Australia. Supporters sprang up, excitedly singing along, waving Australian flags, and screaming her name. It was a homecoming parade, not just an entry. One of her fiercest adversaries, who had been preparing to overthrow her for months, was her opponent that evening. Every second of the match inside the Elimination Chamber was tense, with bodies bashing against the pods and steel chains rattling. Rhea, however, fought with a ferocity she had never displayed before. The Australian audience cheered her on each time she was knocked down, screaming, "Let's go, Rhea!" Rhea found strength in her people's chanting near the end of the match, when it appeared that she would finally lose. She unleashed her lethal riptide in the middle of the ring with one last surge of strength. 1, 2, 3. The referee's hand struck the mat. The arena burst into flames. When Rhea realized she had done it, she had defended her title in front of her home country. Fireworks burst into the sky, and tears fell down her cheeks. Following the bout, Rhea held her championship aloft in the middle of the ring while holding a microphone. This moment is for Australia," she remarked, her voice breaking with passion. "I came home to you after leaving here to pursue a dream. I will always be your champion, wherever I go in the world." It was one of the greatest ovations in WWE history as the audience yelled louder than ever before. Not only did Rhea Ripley defend her title that evening, but a young Australian girl who had previously been questioned showed the world that nothing was impossible. And it became evident that this was more than just a WWE moment as the performance came to a close, with Rhea Ripley smiling through her emotions while draped in the Australian flag. A piece of Australian sports history, this was. But even though WrestleMania XL Saturday was already going to be a memorable night, it seemed as though everyone had stopped to watch history being created. The Philadelphia Stadium was a sea of blaring cries, flashing lights, and unwavering enthusiasm. The show had drawn fans from all around the world, and they had no idea that they were going to see a blending of rock music and wrestling that would be discussed for decades to come. The enormous LED screens glowed in a gloomy, gothic fashion as the audience awaited Rhea Ripley's spectacular arrival. Suddenly, the band Motionless in White came on stage as a haunting guitar riff ripped through the speakers. As the neighborhood metalcore heroes prepared to perform live for Ripley's entry, the audience exploded in astonishment and enthusiasm. As the first lyrics came out, frontman Chris Motionless growled into the microphone as the thunderous drums reverberated. The stage was illuminated in crimson and black as flames erupted along the ramp. The moment and the music had an electrifying connection. Then Rhea Ripley appeared from the smoke. Like a queen advancing into battle, She strode to the band's beat while wearing her trademark black and silver outfit, which had spikes that glinted in the lights. Half the roar of the WWE Universe and half the thunderous bass were causing the stadium to tremble. As the chorus began, Ripley threw her championship belt into the air, her icy gaze sweeping across her opponent, who was waiting in the ring. It was more than just an entrance. It was an announcement that she was WrestleMania's dominant force. The actual match was harsh and unrelenting. The intensity of the music that had just created the mood seemed to drive every blow Ripley made. For the first several minutes, Motionless in White remained at ringside, thrilling the audience and escalating the already tense environment with further turmoil. The audience were standing and yelling together by the time Ripley lifted her opponent onto her shoulders for the riptide. The arena burst after the referee's palms struck the mat 3 times. At WrestleMania XL, Ripley had kept her title, and the moment was immediately captured on camera. As Ripley rejoiced inside the ring after the match, Motionless in White broke into a final chorus as the lights went down once more. The WWE Universe recognized that they had just witnessed one of the most memorable entrances and triumphs in WrestleMania history as confetti poured down and pyrotechnics illuminated the night sky. The scene of Rhea Ripley leaving with Motionless in White in the background, reenacted repeatedly on the Saturday Highlights package, looked like a dark empress escorting her army into battle. Music journalists hailed the collaboration as a crossover masterpiece, while fans hailed it as the best WrestleMania entrance ever on social media. Rhea Ripley did more than simply defend her title that evening. As the live embodiment of WrestleMania's rock and roll ethos, she cemented her name into the annals of WrestleMania greatness. Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lima, and I hope you're having a great day. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the video.